Okay, I'm going to walk you through an example of what the GitHub Actions reporting looks like and how to inspect a failure if something were to happen in the Actions file. So let's just say, for example, that we have a test run that's already been set up with our GitHub Actions project here, or our GitHub project here, rather. We have a workflow file that we have configured. If you look at this workflow file, this is a public repository, so you can feel free to view this, and you can use this as an example. But you can see here it has a couple of environment variables. These are all parameters. You can parameterize other things, such as the test plan or the test cases that you're executing. The file that we're passing into the command line to run the Provar test cases is here. So it refers to a Provar DX JSON file, which is referenceable in the project as well. This is where everything is set as far as where the project is located, the different settings and how to interpret the logging, the metadata, which test environment, which browser, and the test plan settings are here as well. So this is what tells the Provar command line ultimately what to run, how to run it, and all of that. So once we have our actions set up, there's multiple ways to create a trigger for an action. That's in the GitHub documentation, but the most common way is to do it on a pull request or a push. So in this case, we actually have it set to push. So any changes we make to this repository will directly trigger an action. So let's look at a previously failed test run. So we see that the action itself passes. So even if the test cases fail, it'll still pass the action. You can cause it to fail the action if that's your desired outcome. But in this case, it passes because all the test cases run. But we do see the report here has a failure, and this is because one of the test cases is failing. So this is what gets posted as a result of the post results action at the bottom of the GitHub Actions file. And you'll see the full artifact here, which contains the PDF version of the test report. So if we take a look at that, we'll be able to see that here inside of the artifact folder. So this contains the PDF version of the report. This is the full report as it was run from GitHub Actions. And it'll show you the failure message here. So that's one way to look at it. And of course, you can click on any of these test cases. It'll navigate to the test case. And this is the one that failed here. And we could see all of the logs here for that particular test case. So I'll just scroll to the failure message here, and here's where it fails. We have an assertion failure, right? So we can see which test step it refers to and where exactly it failed. You can also see it inside of the logs for the GitHub Actions, and you'll see it on the summary page here as well. So if we look at the report, you can see there's 5 tests run, 1 was failed. If we go look at the report here, we'll see the actual raw output of the failure message. So again, this is the exact same failure message that we see in the PDF file. So that gets posted onto the summary here. So all of that has nothing to do with Provar Manager. All that is just built into the automation and GitHub Actions integration. So again, to diagnose that, of course, I can take this. I know exactly where it failed because of the report. I could easily go into Provar, go directly to that test step because I know which test step it is here. I can make a quick edit, save this, and I'll go ahead and push this test case into my repo. Right, and whenever that is pushed, of course, as mentioned, it will trigger another action. This action will perform that test again. It'll take a minute to do all the prerequisites and set up the CLI. After that, it'll run the test cases, and that'll be reported into GitHub. Now, because of the manager integration I also have with this project, the results are also being posted there. This is separate. So with Provar Automation, you have a connection to Provar Manager, which I've established here. This connection, you'll see all the brackets by my test plans and my test cases that say Provar Manager. That lets me know that these artifacts are synced to my Salesforce org, my Provar Manager application. So you can right click on these and open in Provar Manager, and it'll navigate you to that record inside of Salesforce as it is synced there. I already have it open here. So I'll go to my project that I have open. So this is the same project that I have on my desktop, and that's in GitHub. It's a Provar DX project. This is the test plan that I'm running, so I can see all my previous test cycles here. This is the one I just ran just a minute ago, so I'll be able to see that. So if I go to the test run here, this is the report as it's seen inside of Manager. So again, we see all the pass and failures. We see the names of the test cases, the start dates, the OS and the browser. And if we click on this test execution record here, the one that failed, we'll see the failure message captured in the analysis. We'll also see in the results has the failure message captured as well. So this is the test step and this is the failure. Inside of Manager, you can raise defects directly from test step failures, and that will link the defect to the test step execution as well as the test case itself that was executed. Right, and you'll already be able to see any defects that have been linked to that test case or that test execution here as well. So you'll be able to see a number of different things that you wouldn't know from GitHub, and that's like the browser version, browser operating system version there, resolution type, and some additional details that you'll be able to see here inside of Manager. It also gives you a nice UI wrapper kind of around what you would normally see from the PDF report. Now, of course, over time, I'll be able to see my test cycles for this particular test plan. I can see my daily executions there. If I do a little refresh, I'll be able to see the number of test plan executions for this particular test plan. This would be the number of tests that were ran, how many passed and failed. If I go into the execution here, again, of course, if I open up my test cycles for this plan, I can see the entire list of executions over time. Of course, this is just a table. We could easily build a report off of this. There are some reports that are built into Manager to give you greater insights into this, but this just gives you an idea of the overall pass rate over time here. Okay, so going back to here, this one's still running, but I can show a previous one that passed here just as an example. This is what the test case looked like before it was failing. So we see all the passes here, and we do see that test report step is passed.